Welcome. This is Able1212, and today I am here to display lots of information that I've been holding on to, where it's time to just put out a, a summary of all the deception that I'm aware of and prove it in this segment alone. You might not agree with everything, but that's okay. I beg you to ask the Lord to, and when I say the Lord, I don't mean Baal, I don't mean Satan, I mean the Most High, the only one you should call Master, the um Yah, Yahusha Hamashiach, Ruach Hakodesh, um, is God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit, but they're one. That's what I believe. Um, I'm not with any religion. I don't have any dog to lose in this race. So my own sins are my own sins. I ask for God to forgiveness for my sins. I don't believe smoking weed is a sin, to be honest with you. The level of work that I do with corruption involved is very dramatic, especially when everyone around you calls you a conspiracy theorist and either get banned or censored for speaking the truth. Like today. Today is a great day to start off because today I was censored for I said the word tranny talking about Michelle Obama. Not insulting at all. I just said the first lady was a tranny. And on Instagram, and they pulled it down immediately. Now, there's a lot of visual evidence um, of Michelle Obama, but that's not what the video's about. Instagram censored that post. I appealed it. Moments later, talking moments later after I appealed, them removing that comment, they pulled down the Pfizer post. We're going to have to start off with this. I wasn't planning on starting off with this, but we're going to have to start off with this. So let's do this. So this happened today. It's harmful and false information when it's from Pfizer. It's from Pfizer. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Instagram is taking down factual information from Pfizer. From Pfizer. Factual information from Pfizer, and they're saying it's harmful and false information when it's from Pfizer.
It's from Pfizer.
Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about in this exact post here, what I posted was uh, how the judges ruled that Pfizer couldn't wait 75 years to keep the vaccine data a secret. And I posted the last 9 pages of the adverse effects. That was it. But they pulled that post down moments later after I appealed the tranny comment. What is going on at Instagram? Does that make any sense? Like, I really feel attacked. Like, freedom of speech is done. Like, communist Instagram. Commun Instagram. Absolutely. At least in my sake. 75 years to release. That's what I said. Link in bio. Pfizer exposed, right? I posted it March 3rd. There was no problem until I appealed the comment today. So what did I post exactly? Straight from Pfizer. You know, a lot of people have a lot of work to do. They have a lot of work to do internally with their ego because a lot of people that got vaccinated, they don't want to admit they were wrong. Meaning, as far as I didn't want to get vaccinated because I knew it was experimental. And Pfizer wanted to keep this data hidden for 75 years. Okay? 75 years. So I posted this. Okay? And there's so many of them, they didn't list them like that. They had to scrunch them together because there's so many of them. And this is Pfizer's own data. Okay? This isn't VAERS. This isn't VAERS where they want to use excuses for VAERS. That's fine. We also had the DOD. Don't forget the DOD was all official. Okay? All official. Now we have Pfizer themselves. And then they censored it for harmful and false information. Instagram. Instagram, this isn't looking good for you. The moment I get a lawyer, I'm suing. This is factual information. And the fact that somebody pulled it down after I appealed something is even more disgusting. So let's uh let's move on to something which is going to be this, because we need everybody to understand where we're at, okay? Oh, I should go like this. Should go like this. Forgive me. They literally changed the definition of herd immunity. Okay? They're changing the science as they go. They changed the definition of herd immunity. They changed the definition of vaccine. Let me. All right. And it's sad that a lot of people just don't understand. I can't believe journalists got vaccinated, ones that talked about the system and knows how corrupt the system is. Yet they still got vaccinated. I can't believe it. Blows my mind. They've been talking about big pharma and how corrupt they are, but yet they got vaccinated. I don't get it. I don't get it. Um Now, listen. Okay, we're going to wait for that. I mean, this is how tyrannical they are. You know how gross that is? And they really tried this. I mean, listen, this world is really 9 month expiry date on vaccine passports for those looking to travel. That was a while back. You know how it goes. Um, then they do open 666 right in front of your face. What they're trying to do is get this to be endemic, so that way they can just keep making a profit. Myocarditis, evidence, myocarditis following mRNA COVID-19 vaccination. And that's right from them. And then they'll slap a false statement on that. This world's crazy right now. Okay. So, what we're getting at, right? What we're getting at is this is great because you can just see how they lied because it was really always about the money. Yeah, that's real. And I clip so much stuff. This is from the Washington Post, October 2021. I mean, it's just crazy the way the things that have gone. Okay, we're gonna start getting into things. I'm trying to look for the vaccine. Here it is. I found it. Finally. So that OSHA, the judge that you saw before, that with the hearing, that was this. That was the ending on that. But they changed the definition for vaccine. This is what I was trying to get at. They changed the definition for vaccine. Okay? Like, they changed the definition of vaccine. They changed the definition of herd immunity. Now listen to this.
The various shots that people are getting now cover that. The various shots that people are getting now cover that. You're okay. You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations. Yeah.
Our data from the CDC today suggests, that vaccinated people do not carry the virus, don't get sick, and that it's not just in the clinical trials, but it's also in real-world data.
Well, that didn't happen. Why? Over time, the efficacy proved to go down from this 95 number to this 39 number. Keep in mind, these are all mainstream sources. This isn't conspiracy outlets or far fringe activists. This is the experts and the data telling you that their original predictions weren't true.
I mean, what do you want? Look at that. So because I didn't go along with everyone else and get vaccinated because of my awareness of this, made me a conspiracy theorist, a radical, speaking a false narrative. Like, listen guys, I'm gonna let you know right now, I'm standing my ground, and everyone else that thinks the same way that I do, stand your ground. Don't give in. Because this is ridiculous.
When they don't want you to question them, they say, the science is settled. Trust the science. Questioning me is questioning the science. And then when they make a mistake or their prediction was wrong or off, they say, well, the science didn't change. The virus changed. Or, the science evolves. Give us a break. But if the virus did change, don't you think that some scientists and some bright minds knew about variants and other strains, since variants and strains are not new science by any stretch of the imagination?
The various shots that people are getting now.
And that's the point. It's not new. And you know what they said, though? They said that they didn't know. So listen, I don't know how many lies they're going to keep shoveling down everyone's throat. And then I don't know how many people are going to keep demonizing people like me that speak the truth and show proof of things. Society needs to start waking up.
We're hearing about these breakthrough infections every single day. Does the vaccine not protect people as much as we thought?
I'm so glad that you asked because, in fact, the vaccine is working exactly as we thought it would work as we studied it in the clinical trials. In those clinical trials, its design was to prevent severe disease and to prevent hospitalizations and deaths. And, in fact, even with the Delta variant, we are fortunate that it is working actually quite well and pretty close to as well as the vaccine worked to prevent severe hospitalization and death as it did the Alpha variant. So there are plenty of reasons to protect yourself to get vaccinated. Our data from the CDC today suggest, that vaccinated people do not carry the virus, don't get sick, and that it's not just in the clinical trials, but it's also in real-world data that vaccinated people do not carry the virus, don't get sick, and that it's not just in the clinical trials, but it's also in real-world data. The vaccine is working exactly as we thought it would work, as we studied it in the clinical trials. In those clinical trials, its design was to prevent severe disease and to prevent hospitalizations and deaths. That vaccinated people do not carry the virus, don't get sick, and that it's not just in the clinical trials, but it's also in real-world data.
We're hearing about these breakthrough infections every
Many of those mutations have been associated with more transmissible variants, with evasion of some of our therapeutics, and potentially evasion of some of our immunity. And that's what we're watching really carefully. What we don't yet know is how transmissible it will be, how well our vaccines will work, whether it will lead to more severe disease. So many of those mutations have been.
Okay, so I don't like Joe Rogan. I think he's
multi-drug therapy as an outpatient works substantially, and we've had a giant loss of life, a giant number, millions and millions of unnecessary hospitalizations. And it seemed to me, and I've told Tucker Carlson,
what we're going to get into is I don't believe that what happened the way that they portrayed it did. What I observed didn't happen the way that they said it did. And I'm not going to believe it happened the way that they said it did.
And many others, it seems to me early on, there was an intentional, very comprehensive suppression of early treatment in order to promote fear, suffering, isolation, hospitalization, and death. And it seemed to be completely organized and intentional in order to create acceptance for and then promote.
He's right. It was organized. And what it wasn't, though, was there was a bunch of nowadays you find out that everybody, like, it was like really stupid high number, like 90 to 95%, I think. And if I'm wrong, then let me know, but I'm pretty sure it's like around 90% of everyone that died had second comorbidities. They used those deaths, and we're going to talk about that because I have tons of that information. I don't even know if I want to play this.
Mass vaccination.
So you believe this is a premeditated thing that they were doing. So they realized that in order to get people enthusiastic about taking this vaccine, the best way to do that was to not have a protocol for treatment.
It's not just my idea. Now it's completely laid out by the book by Dr. Pam Popper, the book recently published by Peter Bregan, COVID-19 and the Global Predators, We Are the Prey. I wrote one of the introductions. Dr. Leafleet and Dr. Vladimir Lysenko wrote the other introductions. These books are basically nonfiction. They have 1,000 citations in the Bregan book showing how it was coordinated and planned. Now Bobby Kennedy has his book out, The Real Anthony Fauci. I'm the most mentioned physician in that book. I can tell you that if you want to find the evidence that Moderna was working on the vaccine before the virus ever emanated out of the lab, if you wanted to find the collusions and the operations between the Gates Foundation and Gavi and CEPI and Pfizer and Moderna and the vaccine manufacturers and the Wuhan lab and the National Institutes of Health and Ralph Barrick and University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and how all this was organized. If you want to see the Johns Hopkins planning seminar called the SPARS pandemic in 2017, where they had a symposium, people showed up, they wrote up their symposium findings, they published this. It says it's going to be a coronavirus. It's going to be related to MERS and SARS. It's going to come over here to the United States. It's going to shut down cities and frighten people. There's going to be confusion regarding a drug, hydroxychloroquine or ivermectin. And we're going to utilize all that in order to railroad the population into mass vaccination. It's laid out in the Johns Hopkins SPARS pandemic training seminar. The only thing they got wrong was the year. They said it was going to be 2025. Instead, it landed a few years early. We have to reconcile with vaccine safety. So the story is, by January 22nd, we already had 182 deaths after the vaccine, January 22nd. For all the vaccines combined, 278 million shots given each year in the United States, kids, adults, me and you. I took 2 last year. I took 1 this year. 270 million shots. The average number of deaths that would ever come into our central database, about 150. We've been keeping this database for 20 years. Suddenly, we were at 182. And then it was a very important recognition that many of us had. Say, wait a minute, the CDC and FDA, they didn't have any safety review. They didn't have an external critical event committee. They didn't have a data safety monitoring committee, and they didn't have a human ethics board assigned to the program. It turns out we had the wrong agencies leading the program. The FDA is supposed to be the drug watch government organization. They don't lead clinical programs. The CDC is supposed to be the outbreak evaluation program. They don't lead clinical programs. So, in fact, we actually had the wrong, we had, in a sense, the fox guarding the chicken coop, in a sense. We had the wrong people leading the programs, and then we didn't have the independent safety committees. So there was nobody to stop the program in February. Normally what happens is you get 5 deaths after any product that's unexplained. Black box warning, may cause death. You get to 50 deaths. I don't care if 50 million, 60 million people take the drug. You get to 50 deaths, it's off the market, and it gets reviewed for safety. I've been involved with these, Joe, at a national level. We never let a drug go on and be associated with 50 deaths afterwards. We were at 182, and there was no safety review. Remember, I told you in February, I demanded, as a citizen, a report from the federal government. We needed a report and a press briefing on vaccine safety and efficacy. We never got it.
Pickle Gang.
So I don't really like. We're going to get into this because I don't believe that things happened the way that they were told to us, and we're going to show you lots of information concerning that. Now, usually you can't even make a vaccine for 8 to 10 years, right? So the mRNA vaccine comes in, which is not even a vaccine, it's mRNA technology administered through a vaccine. This is why they changed the definition of vaccine to being a nasal thing, because soon I guess they're going to be putting shit up your nose. Listen, so July 14th, okay? July 14th, we need to put this into perspective. July 14th, Klaus Schwab is at the World Economic Forum saying this.
It's even aggravated by the question about the vaccine itself. We don't know yet, for example, is 1 dose sufficient? Do you need 2 doses? In what interval? Do you have even to be vaccinated every year? Because the antibodies may not sustain for a long time. So it's a big unknown. And I just can assure you we will try. I mean, that's our role to look at the solutions in the best global interest. And I think the best global interest is not to increase the divide between the haves and the haves not, between those countries which are industrialized and those which are lagging behind. But let me make one remark here. I think if we look at the location of the production facilities for vaccines, they are very much not in the industrialized countries. They are in, if I'm not mistaken, they are in your country, in Malaysia. They are in India particularly, and so on. So this is really a test case where for the capability of global cooperation. And I would say, being quite involved in those capability of global cooperation, capability of global cooperation, capability of global cooperation.
Vaccines or monetary system, which that's what seems like is happening now. Okay. So they want a global corporation that produces.
Assure you, we will try. I mean, that's vaccinated every year. In what interval? Do you have even to be vaccinated every year?
This is 2020, I think, too. July 14th, 2020. July 14th, 2020. That was before the vaccine. July 14th, 2020.
Do you need 2 doses? In what interval? Do you have even to be
They knew they wanted that
vaccinated
money.
every year?
So he's acting like it's a good thing what they're going to do. We need to do this. We don't know. But what he does know is
For the capability of global cooperation.
okay. Hegelian dialectic, problem reaction solution, which is from July 14th. Okay, ready? Before there was even a vaccine. So
capability of global cooperation.
they're telling you everything they're doing.
Still others are recommending that
So a
suppliers,
lot of people,
buyers,
I'm not sure if you know, but they're back in right before COVID had came out, quote unquote COVID had came out. Johns Hopkins University they did this event called Event 201. There was a pandemic where they ended up having a quote unquote coronavirus. It was a big coronavirus though. Come out and they played it all out. When I heard this part, it caught my attention.
and countries entrust a central international entity or organization with the job of allocation and distribution decisions for at least a portion of antivirals and other medical supplies.
Central international entity.
Capability of global cooperation.
They're telling you everything they're doing. Either you're paying attention or you're not.
Still others are recommending that suppliers, buyers, and countries entrust a central international entity or organization with the job of allocation and distribution decisions for at least a portion of antivirals and other medical supplies.
Central international entity.
Capability of global cooperation.
So, can I play you something else I found today? It was of Clandestine X. Where I was like, whoa. I can't believe. I can't believe that. Have that. Oh. Wait a minute. New one? If it's not, then
Could I just, for clarification from the secretary or the director or the secretary on the medical side of this?
so this is, I believe, 2018. This is I'm sorry, not Clandestine X. Blade X. And this is another pandemic exercise, which was 2018, right? 2018. Listen to what they say here. Very.
Could I just, for clarification from the secretary or the director or the secretary on the medical side of this, because are you saying that you are not convinced this quarantine is justified from a public health standpoint?
Yes. It has never worked. The moment you force people to do something, they try to get out of it. And again, if this is the beginning of a larger epidemic, we have to have the credibility with the public and their cooperation. As Sam Nunn once said when he was president in a similar exercise, there is no force on earth that can make over 200 million Americans do anything they think is not in the best interest of themselves and their families. And we still are in that situation.
That was 2018 when they ran that pandemic exercise. How do you think it played out, America? 200 million Americans. She was acting as DHS coordinator. She said that they can't make 200 million Americans do anything. That's why they played a heavy psychological game on everybody. Now listen, what did they have? What was the first thing they had? In China, Wuhan, China, they had people dropping dead in the streets. Was that happening? No. Propaganda was thick, trust. Now, I want to point out something because I didn't notice it then, I notice it now. They have checkerboard seats, which means Masons. So, here's the charade. See? He put his mask on just to walk up and take it off. Okay? Gotta love it. Put his mask on just to walk up, take it off. Called Jesuit theater, folks. Okay? Called Jesuit theater. Nobody has been concerned, scared of COVID ever. But what'd they do?
Pete, what do we know about this?
Well, DHS says this new terrorism advisory is not based on any actual threats or plots, but it says there's a rise in anti-government rhetoric. Some of it is opposition to COVID public health rules like mask and vaccine measures. Some calls for violent action are based on claims of election fraud or a belief that Donald Trump can be reinstated. And DHS says the coming 20th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks and religious holidays later this year could be catalysts for violence. The last terror advisory was issued in May. It expired today. This new one says domestic extremism remains a threat priority, Lester.
Racially or ethnically motivated violent extremists. False narratives. False narratives, conspiracy theories, opposition to COVID.
A new terror alert has been
Bad.
The head of the CDC said, you know what Dr. Walensky said? She told CNN, we actually don't know how our rapid tests perform and how well they predict whether you're transmissible during the end of the disease. Who are we supposed to listen to, man? Now, this is how you know Walensky is getting coached by a Democratic consultant. She didn't answer the initial question about what the judge said. And that's why you always have to ask them the question twice, because after they have given you the scripted, rehearsed, prepped answer, all you get is the truth. Now continue.
Understood, but the number's not 100,000. It's roughly 3,500 in hospitals now.
Yes, there are, and in fact, what I will say is, while pediatric hospitalizations are rising, they're still about 50.
If a Supreme Court justice is giving out inaccurate information, if the CDC director says they need to work on their messaging, who the hell are we supposed to listen? The head of this.
I don't usually agree with Charlemagne, but he has a point. So, listen, so look at this. I want to point out the fact checkers that they use here. Right? This is the fact checkers they use, Instagram. And usually I see this on a mobile. I'm going to translate it into English. Usually I've never done this before because I've never done this on a fake unexpected deaths of people denying COVID-19. Slapped me with something that isn't fact. The inventor of the PCR test, Kerry Mullis, has never made any claims that his invention is unable to detect coronavirus in humans. Mullis never made a statement that PCR tests should not be used to detect viruses. Ineffectiveness of PCR tests. PCR testing is considered one of the most effective and most accurate methods for determining the. That's not what the. You know what's funny about this right here? This is all lies. And you know what's even funnier? Is I actually have them saying that PCR tests were inaccurate. But let's listen to Kerry Mullis because a lot of people don't even know who he is.
What is it about humanity that wants to go to all the details and stuff and listen? You know, these guys like Fauci get up there and start talking. You know, he doesn't know anything really about anything, and I'd say that to his face. Nothing. The man thinks you can take a blood sample and stick it in an electron microscope, and if it's got a virus in there, you'll know it. He doesn't understand electron microscopy, and he doesn't understand medicine, and he should not be in a position like he's in. Most of those guys up there on the top are just total administrative people, and they don't know anything about what's going on the bottom. You know, those guys have got an agenda, which is not what we would like them to have, being that we pay for them to take care of our health in some way. They've got a personal kind of agenda. They make up their own rules as they go. They change them when they want to.
Dr. Fauci
and they smugly, like Tony Fauci, does
HIV
not mind
virus.
going on television in front of the people that pay his salary and lie directly into the camera. You can't expect the sheep to really respect the best and the brightest. They don't know the difference, really. I mean, I like humans. Don't get me wrong, but basically, the vast majority of them do not possess the ability to judge who is and who isn't a really good scientist. I mean, that's a problem. That's a main problem, actually, with science, I'd say, in this century, because science is being judged by people. Funding is being done by people who don't understand it. Okay, who do we trust? Fauci? Fauci doesn't know enough to, you know. If Fauci wants to get on television with somebody who knows a little bit about this stuff and debate him, he could easily do it because he's been asked. I mean, I've had a lot of people, president of the University of South Carolina asked Fauci if he'd come down there and debate me on the stage in front of the student body, because I wanted somebody who was from the other side to come down there and balance my, because I felt like, well, these guys can listen to me, but I need to have somebody else down here that's going to tell me the other side. But Fauci didn't want to do it. What is it? What is it about humanity?
Fauci didn't want to do it. So that's the inventor of the PCR test, aka the COVID-19 test. And Kerry Mullis passed away, coincidentally, 2019, months before COVID-19. So this right here, what they're claiming about this video is totally wrong. I know what they're claiming here. What they're claiming here is what he said is what Kerry Mullis said in a different video. This video I just put up because he's speaking truth about Tony Fauci. Like, that's why I did it. That other video was something totally different. It was totally inaccurate. Ridiculous. This is Mike Tyson saying he got the vaccine.
But I must say, if I could be kind enough to say, I didn't do it willingly. I'm a little apprehensive of that. I was pretty much beaten in submission to do this because I travel internationally, and if I don't travel, we don't eat. Yes, I am vaccinated. Yes, I am vaccinated. But I must.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. Months, I think in 2020, I said, what are they gonna do when they try to force vaccinate Mike Tyson? You know, I said that. What did they do? They said, you can't travel, bud.
I must say, if I could be kind enough to say, I didn't do it willingly. I'm a little apprehensive of that. I was pretty much beaten in submission to do this because I travel internationally, and if I don't travel, we don't eat. Yes, I am vaccinated. Yes, I am vaccinated.
Because they were forcing people, if you were traveling.
But I must say,
to be vaccinated.
We have a real chance at this new world order.
New world order. New world order. New world order. New world order. A new world order. New world order. New world order. New world order.
I believe we, and particularly you, your class, has an incredible window of opportunity to lead in shaping a new world order for the 21st century. A new world order.
Just a coincidence, guys.
Now is to actually create a new world order.
A new world order.
Just a coincidence.
We have
saying
before us
world
the
order.
opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations
All conspiracy.
a new world order when we are successful. And we will be. We have a real chance at this new world order.
When we are
So they say this stuff. We put it out there, and then they call us conspiracy theorists because we're pointing out the truth. Homeland Security to ensure that any individual traveling on a flight that departs from and arrives to an airport inside the United States or territory of the United States is fully vaccinated against COVID-19 or other purposes. As DHS. All right, so we're moving along. We're moving along. Mind you, they really censored me for posting the truth about for posting Pfizer's information. For posting Pfizer's information. They censored it. Amazing. All right. We're getting down there. So we got to start off with some things. Soon, it's time to okay. We need to open up a videos portion and then minimize. All right, here we go. Oh, let me close these. This is. Now this never looks good. Skull and Bones member with good old Bill. Never a good look. Why? Well,
falling all the way to zero. This equation has four factors, a little bit of multiplication. So you've got a thing on the left, CO2, that you want to get to zero. And that's going to be based on the number of people, the services each person's using on average, the energy on average for each service, and the CO2 being put out per unit of energy. So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to zero. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to zero. That's back from high school algebra. But let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, health care, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%. But there we see an increase of about 1.3 falling.
Now, he said vaccines, and he said reproductive health care. Reproductive health care is their twisted way of saying abortion. So if they're saying if they do a good job with vaccines and reproductive health care, they can do what again, Bill?
Headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, health care, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%. But there we see an increase of about 1.3, falling all the way to zero. This equation has four factors. A little bit of today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, health care, reproductive health services, we
health care, not sure what that means. Reproductive health services is what he says, sorry. That is abortion. And he's right, because 40 million babies were murdered last year.
Could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
So, then we have to understand the charades that they put us through.
Make it clear to them that the vaccine is the ticket back to pre-pandemic life. And the window to do that is really narrowing. I mean, you were mentioning, Chris, about how all these states are reopening. They're reopening at 100%. And we have a very narrow window to tie reopening policy to vaccination status. Because otherwise, if everything is reopened, then what's the carrot going to be? How are we going to incentivize people to actually get the vaccine? So that's why I think the CDC and the Biden administration needs to come out a lot bolder and say, if you're vaccinated, you can do all these things. Here are all these freedoms that you have. Because otherwise, people are going to go out and enjoy these freedoms anyway. Make it clear to them that the vaccine is the ticket.
Now, when I heard Bill Gates say this and new TED Talk
eventually
edited,
what we'll have to have is certificates of who's a recovered person, who's a vaccinated person, because you don't want people moving around the world
vaccine
where you'll
passports.
have some countries that won't have it under control. Sadly,
And they edited
you don't
this
want
out.
to completely block off the ability for those, people to go there and come back and move around. So eventually there will be sort of this digital immunity proof that, will help facilitate the global reopening up.
they edited that out of TED Talk.
Eventually, what we'll have to have is certificates of who's a recovered person, who's a vaccinated person, because you don't want people moving around the world where you'll have some countries that won't have it under control. Sadly, you don't want to completely block off the ability for those, people to go there and come back and move around. So eventually there will be sort of this digital immunity proof that, will help facilitate the global reopening up.
And I just realized TED Talk knows the firmament, there's water above us. That's supposed to be space. TED Talk. Not really water. People think of space. Boom. They hit the firmament. Water. They know. Check this out. That's another topic we're going to be discussing. So, what's the big kicker in all this? If you take this, you can't sue them. You can't sue Pfizer or Moderna if you have severe COVID vaccine side effects. The government likely won't compensate you for damages either. Which means that they don't care. Okay? They don't care. And this is the appendix for all of these. Where? Wait a minute. Instagram is taking down factual information from Pfizer. Factual information from Pfizer, and they're saying it's harmful and false information when it's from Pfizer. It's from Pfizer. Wait a minute. Instagram is taking down factual information from Pfizer. Factual information from Pfizer, and they're saying it's harmful and false information when it's from Pfizer. It's from Pfizer. Wait a minute. Instagram is taking down So there it is.
We all know, but still pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack. To use the COVID-19 crisis as a timely opportunity to reflect on the lessons the cybersecurity community can draw and improve our preparedness for a potential cyber pandemic. We all know, but still pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt.
So this is how these people think, okay? Where?
Wait a minute.
They don't care about all of these. They wanted to keep this secret for 75 years. And because they wanted to keep it secret and I shared it, it's false information. It's absolutely disgusting. Now,
I'm just going to do another 30 seconds on testing. These tests are not 100% sensitive or specific. And I'm going to go over this over and over again. So if you have 1% of your population infected.
I used to tell people all the time that there are tons of false positives out there. Tons of false positives. No, they're not, blah, blah, blah. I was like, they're not reliable at all. Because that's what also the inventor said. What is she saying right here?
And you have a test that's only...
I'm going to let this play a few times.
99% specific. That means that when you find a positive, 50% of the time it will be a real positive, and 50% of the time it won't be. I'm just going to do another 30 seconds on testing. These tests are not 100% sensitive or specific. And I'm going to go over this over and over again. So if you have 1% of your population infected, and you have a test that's only 99% specific, that means that when you find a positive, 50% of the time it will be a real positive, and 50% of the time it won't be. I'm just going to do another 30 seconds on testing. These tests are not 100% sensitive or specific. And I'm going to go over this over and over again. So if you have 1% of your population infected, and you have a test that's only 99% specific, that means that when you find a positive, 50% of the time it will be a real positive, and 50% of the time it won't be. And I'm just...
If you have these vaccinations.
Yeah. It's important to remember, as I'll get to in a moment, that infections after vaccination are expected.
You're okay. You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations.
Yeah. It's important to remember, as I'll get to in a moment, that infections after vaccination are expected.
You're okay. You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations.
Yeah. It's important to remember, as I'll get to in a moment, that infections after vaccination are expected.
If you have these
How many
vaccinations.
times are they gonna lie?
Yeah. So we, we'll have to prepare for the next one. That, I'd say is will get attention this time. So we, we'll have to prepare for the next one. That, I'd say is will get attention this time.
Remember?
I just watched Tony Fauci and CNN and Fox tell me that people with the vaccine, vaccinated people, are now spreading the coronavirus. A couple of weeks ago, a couple of days ago, I was yes, I'm vaccinated. Yay, a little sticker. Yay, I'm vaccinated. Be a hero. Be vaccinated. I went from being a hero because I'm vaccinated, and now you motherfuckers are calling me a super spreader? I ain't no fucking super spreader. Figure this shit out. I just watched Tony Fauci and CNN and Fox tell me that people with the vaccine, vaccinated people, are now spreading the coronavirus. A couple of weeks ago, a couple of days ago, I was yes, I'm vaccinated. Yay, a little sticker. Yay, I'm vaccinated. Be a hero, be vaccinated. I went from being a hero because I'm vaccinated, and now you motherfuckers are calling me a super spreader? I ain't no fucking super spreader. Figure this shit out. I
love it.
I just watched Tony Fauci and CNN.
So, listen. And then
Vacunarse con vacunas autorizadas por las autoridades competentes es un acto de amor. Y ayudar a que la mayoría de la gente lo haga es un acto de amor. Amor a uno mismo, amor a los familiares y amigos, amor a todos los pueblos. El amor es también social y político. Hay amor social y amor político. Es universal. Vacunarse con vacunas autorizadas por las autoridades competentes es un acto de amor. Y ayudar.
Hold on here. Let me play this one time through.
A que la mayoría de la gente vacunarse con vacunas autorizadas por las autoridades competentes es un acto de amor. Y ayudar a que la mayoría de la gente lo haga es un acto de amor. Amor a uno mismo, amor a los familiares y amigos, amor a todos los pueblos. El amor es también social y político. Hay amor social y amor político. Es universal. Siempre desbordante de pequeños gestos de caridad personal capaces de transformar y mejorar las sociedades. Vacunarse es un modo sencillo pero profundo de promover el bien común y de cuidarnos unos a otros, especialmente los más vulnerables. Le pido a Dios para que cada uno pueda aportar su pequeño grano de arena, su pequeño gesto de amor. Por más pequeño que sea, el amor siempre es grande. Aportar esos pequeños gestos para un futuro mejor. Que Dios lo bendiga y muchas gracias. Vacunarse con vacunas autorizadas por las autoridades competentes es un acto de amor. Y ayudar a que la mayoría de la gente lo haga es un acto de amor. Amor a uno mismo, amor a los familiares y amigos, amor a todos los pueblos. El amor es también social. Vacunarse con vacunas autorizadas por las autoridades competentes es un acto de amor. Y ayudar a que la mayoría de la gente lo haga es un acto de amor. Amor a uno mismo, amor a los familiares y amigos, amor a todos los pueblos. El amor es también social y político. Hay amor social y amor político. Es universal. Siempre desbordante de pequeños gestos de caridad personal capaces de transformar y mejorar la sociedad. Vacunarse es un modo sencillo pero profundo de promover el bien común y de cuidarnos unos a otros, especialmente los más vulnerables. Le pido a Dios para que cada uno pueda aportar su pequeño grano de arena, para que cada uno pueda aportar. Le pido a Dios, especialmente los más vulnerables. Le pido a Dios para que cada uno pueda aportar su pequeño grano de arena, su pequeño gesto de amor. Por más pequeño que sea, el amor siempre es grande. Aportar esos pequeños gestos para un futuro mejor. Que Dios los bendiga y muchas gracias. Vacunarse con vacunas autorizadas por las autoridades competentes.
Tony Fauci's a Jesuit. He's a Jesuit. Arturo Sosa, the Black Pope, he's a Jesuit. Jesuits are everywhere. Jesuits are controlling Freemasons, which is another story that we're gonna have to talk about. Because got a lot to talk about. We just started with COVID, just because. Now we're gonna get into the other progressive things like racism, where I didn't do quotes racism. I'm just saying that there's a lot of people that claim they're fighting against racism and they're not. They're putting on a show. Why? Because they're all Prince Hall Freemasons and white Freemasons. Yep. And if they really wanted to fight against systemic racism, they would do this. They would start here, but they don't. Why? Because they're brothers. Like, even though they're racist, I don't know, I guess they're still brothers. Farrakhan's the national representative of Prince Hall Freemasonry, so why why hasn't he addressed those 8 states? Which I fixed to Arkansas. We got Ice Cube understands, okay? The problem with Ice Cube is he didn't keep going like he didn't take my he did a post. He did a post and he said, "We got to bust this bullshit up." He did a post, said, "We got to bust this bullshit up." I made this. All lodges by address. I just fixed this today. Literally, all lodges by address. Okay? Okay. Arkansas. After I posted this, which I'm pretty sure that this was public, Arkansas took it down. Oh, wait. I think I had it on Scribd. And for some reason it got taken down. I don't know why. So, long story short, now it's here. All of them, like I said, are mapped out. Easily accessible, mapped out for everybody. I show you where they all are. Well, I show you where most of them are. They're so clustered that, look, there's 8 lodges here, there's 8 lodges here, 7 lodges here. So that's Miami. Look how many are in Miami. So this is thorough. I work here. Now, mind you, it's all archived. So even if everybody took this down, it's still archived. This is so beyond archived. I made sure that it's doubly archived that nobody can take it down. It can't be removed unless they took down Archive IS, which I'm gonna make sure I back it up on which I'm not. I might have already. I don't even know. I do things. I gotta back it up on way back. Double make sure. But these are all, like I said. Now these are their own. This is their own source. See, I give you their own source, by the way. Their own source. So these are the Louisiana lodges by county. See, that's their own. I was gonna go in and archive every single one of these posts too. But I'm like, I'm not going to do that. Why? Well, because to be honest, that's the lodges by district. I have them all. I have all the addresses already. So I don't like that was a bonus. That was a bonus. So see, like I already have them. Every single one. And that's more these are more important to me than the lodges by district. The lodges by district is just bonus. So we got all of them. The only one I don't have the lodges by district is for was Arkansas. And I mean, I had Arkansas Freemasons. I had the contact info. That's just their own pages. It's their own pages. Like, I mean, I archived it, but it's just their own pages. Now, once you understand that, and they ended up taking down, like I said, so they have the lodges by district, but then they took the PDF got taken down, so I put it back up, and that's why I'm glad that it's up now. But all of them are documented. Now, what's the big deal? Well, they're racist. These states, 8 states, have not accepted Prince Hall Freemasonry. And, you know, I can mind my business, but why hasn't the national representative being Farrakhan addressed this problem? I find it strange. I find it strange. To me, they still exist. Meaning the Confederacy. Confederacy. It's just boom right there now. This is the new Confederacy. They're all racist. Openly racist. Oh my bad. This was the last one. And after that, that was it. But so imagine all of these that are racist that don't accept Prince Hall. Just imagine how many levels of government they all hold and why there's so much racism in these specific states. Well, this is where you need to start with the root of systemic racism at. And guess what? When I presented this to all three of the Black Lives Matter leaders, founders, uh, Alicia Garza, Patrice Cullors, and Opal Tometi, they all blocked me. In my opinion, I think they're Order of the Eastern Star, and that's what I mean. They're not going to go against white Freemasons. It doesn't matter if they're racist. Crazy. When I gave this to my son put up with me talking shit to him for years. The moment I slapped this down, the link down for this, started saying, why don't you deal with the racism? It blocked me. Blocked me twice because I started leaving that link. He doesn't like it. Why? Let me show you. There's a lot of fake people out here. A lot of people pretending. Because That's a problem. Okay? If can you imagine? Can you imagine how many racist institutions? Now, you want to know my personal opinion? I think that's how they got COVID numbers. I think a lot of the secret societies, the orders, if you understand the military, when you look at how a hospital is set up, it's set up in a hierarchical order, and meaning people take orders from the top down. And if you have any order the star or Freemasons that are in any of these key positions, they can just sit there and I mean, you know how many nurses quit and said they didn't know what was going on? Like a lot of people didn't even seem like they knew what was going on. Like if we could see that closer, it's better. But I mean, imagine that's West Virginia. So now you have to understand that that's only Freemasonic lodges. It doesn't include the Jesuit sectors, the Catholic districts. Oh yeah, they got districts, guys. God moved me out of their district. I used to live in their district, didn't even know. Although technically the Pope says we're all under his. He thinks we all man, listen. Now, if this isn't a problem, I don't know what to tell you. Conclusion, Confederacy still exists. Okay? As you can see, it's blatantly obvious where the problem seems to be nested away in a safe haven of racism, blanketed in its own ego of what seems to be righteous to the eye, but behind the benevolence, its acts are sinister to the core. And it's true because, wow, I have a lot of things to say, especially about COVID. After COVID, it made me realize a lot. This is where this is where the root of systemic racism begins. If Freemasonry can have a safe haven since 1865 to take its racist war to the bureaucratic level, way beyond what the KKK has ever accomplished with its deviant goals in government, then it's time to wake up and open our eyes to the reality of this world and who is helping control things behind the scenes. Did you know? Okay, you know what a lot of people don't know? Is that there was an anti Masonic party. John Adams was early president. Guess what? He was one of the founders, I think, of the anti-Masonic party. Back then, they found out like this is why we have to address Tilla, and I'm going to address Tilla in a brotherly way, brotherly love way, where I'm sorry we have to talk about why um quote unquote flat earth matters, where I don't know what the shape of the earth is, I don't claim to. But what I will say is that space is fake and the heliocentric model is BS. And I can prove it using science. So, and why does it matter? Brother Tilla says that it doesn't matter because it doesn't glorify the character of Christ. Where I will say this, Brother Tilla, we're not going to get into it right now. I'm going to discuss it later, but it actually is a big deal. And it does have to do with the character of Christ. Because why? Because if it's a lie, meaning if space is fake, right? And we're not a globe, right? I know we're not a globe. That's one thing I can say. Uh, I will say that it's bearing false witness. And what is that? That's breaking commandment. And aren't the commandments the character of God? Right? So if they're bearing false witness and lying about space and this and that and giants, and if they're lying about all this stuff, then yes, till it does matter because it's bearing false witness. And that goes against the character of God. So we have some things we need to iron out. But we're gonna get through this racism thing first real quick. Because I got some things to address. Then we're gonna move on. Because they are helping control things behind the scenes. And I'm not saying they fully run the show. They don't. The Jesuit order does. But they go highly undetected in our society when they're causing a lot of the chaos. And this is the video, by the way. In detail, unveiling the things you've never seen before. Trust me, I got things. We just wanted you to get this documented in public. Masonically, the war has not been declared victorious in the context of racism, by the way. So they're admitting racism. The United States federal government was able to mandate integration by law backed by federal troops. We cannot do that in Freemasonry. So no amount of force can change the hearts of men. They're like, we're racist, sorry. And whether civilly or Masonically, we must admit that there are men and women who still do not want to change. So they're like, F you, we're racist. Frederick L. Milliken. The last thing I want to say is if you have to force them to change their ways publicly, did they really change at all in their heart? I do have exclusive content. This is that video. And when I had did this was when I did this was October 2020. And what happened? A year went by, and now we're like at a year and a half went by. And like I said, my son, Tamika Mallory, Until Freedom, none of them want to talk about Freemasonry. None of them want to talk about Freemasonry. None of them. So this right here, I thought, oh, we can make it bigger. I'm gonna go like this. We're not gonna play the Michael Jordan Boule. LeBron James doing 666s, pyramids. Jay-Z standing behind Beyonce. We got a lot of Satanism to talk about too, but we're not going to get there yet. Lots of Satanism. Apathy, 32nd degree. This video is actually going out to Apathy about the Masons. My 12 followers. Thank you. Thank you. Sellouts. All of them are sellouts. All of them. That's Trayvon Martin's father. Reiner. Boulez. Boule. Vince Carter. He pretended to cry. LeBron. Dirty. 50 Cent, one eye. That's the Eye of Horus. Drake. That's Drake. Now, I need this for a future time. Now, my son, listen, we can't do this anymore. Wow. Guess it doesn't matter. So, he says he's not sold out, but he sure does some pyramid a lot. The Bruce for the Kyle Rittenhouse case. He's Freemason. Both of them doing some triangle. Don't know. Trayvon Martin's father and Zimmerman. And Never Sold My Soul doing the pyramid. Thumb pyramid. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, boom. Evolutionary. Orange cat. But I mean, they're everywhere. Okay? They're everywhere. The Queen did a druid ceremony.
Our winds are.
Because they're druids. Ancient druids. They're all witches, man. The elite, meaning. And a lot, I would say all of them, all of the elite are definitely. Witches and warlocks. Witches and warlocks. Satanists. Racist. Why racist? Because they're God's children, really.
Our winds are.
We're going to get into the white people, though. Drinking out of a horn. Just so you know that this world is wicked, man. The apocalypse is an uncovering, closure, revelation of great knowledge, religious and occult concepts, apocalypse. disclosed something very important that was hidden. Hopefully, I can show you something that was hidden. Hopefully, I have shown you something that is hidden to you already. But this is. I'm going deeper, trust. One of the Jewish Christian writings, marked by symbolic image. God destroys the ruling powers of evil and raises the righteous to life in a messianic. I mean, that is what's happening in the Bible. Now listen. Sonic Dictionary. This is their own dictionary, okay? Ordo abcal. Order out of chaos. The motto of the 33rd degree. I didn't say that. Now you see, we're going to have to talk about apathy a couple times because apathy says things like most Masons, normal guys, mad, listen. He defends the normal ones all the time. Never goes at the higher ones. He says he does. Yet, I'm yet to see. Like when I gave him the. That's one thing I didn't show you. I want to just speak. That one. This is how this started, by the way. You don't know what Freemasons are. Well, by the end of this. Go ahead, make that documentary or whatever for your 12 followers. That's how we got here. Okay? Faults. I always go at them. And I gave him that. Not a peep. And I said, please treat me with respect. Don't lie to me. And then you know what he said? I do go at the powers that be. Why can't you have a real conversation? That I documented racism. Is you fly off the hinges and post multiple things like that link 1,000 times. So he knows that I've posted this link 1,000 times, yet he's never said anything about it. Never. And he's like, well, you're not an authority. Of course I'm not an authority, but you're the one that's a Freemason. You're the one that's always defending Freemasons. If I shit on Freemasons for a reason, please, please, please don't feel a way about it. You're a Freemason. And especially if you're 32nd degree, the ego. Nobody's above me. Yeah, God's above one. It doesn't matter what the fuck you give me. But that self mastery bullshit, all that. You don't think that a 33rd degree is above you? Okay. He talks about racism. He erased the post. I have them documented. That this isn't a go at apathy thing though. So just here to show you the reason why we're here. I gave him the October 2020 multiple times. Obviously, he admitted it. Doesn't care. Tons of virtue signalers. Like, same with my son. Gave it to him, blocked me. Tons of people are sold out. In my opinion, this. Listen, I'm not gonna lie. I don't care what he's saying. I can't stop seeing. I pay attention to their hands. See, he's doing the symbolism. They can't stop doing it. They have to show they're affiliated. The thumb triangle, they have to show they're affiliated. It's what they do all the time. I can't stop seeing it. It's all these people do. He's sold out. The controlled opposition. I'm sick of all these quote unquote people that are in position, that are giving you information, including Joe Rogan, including my son and Tamika and Linda from Until Freedom, including BLM. You heard about 60 million missing? All these people are controlled opposition. This is why I'm so censored. Facts. This disappeared. And this, same as Anomaly. He's sold. Watch how awkward. See, you gotta watch the hands. They all do it. All of them. All of them. I'm tired of everybody. Everybody that's giving you information. Look, he got his little turquoise shirt on. He got his black and white going. He got the black, red, and white going on the chair. He got the lime green going. Listen, man. Look at it. This is all they do. I swear they get paid for how much symbolism they can fit into every post. Royce the 5'9" calls it checking boxes. At least I jacked his idea. And yeah, I produced too. This ain't finished yet, but I promise I'm coming. And this, and we won't get into the devil stuff yet, but
it's not a performance, it's a ritual.
that's Marina Abramovic and Jacob Rothschild in front of Thomas Lawrence 1797 painting called Satan Summoning His Legions. That was doing the Drake there. He's doing one eye. Razcast. That's Razcast and Apathy down in New London at the Catholic Church. This is Lord Finesse doing devil horns subliminally. That's wearing red, white, black, 3 stripes. That's Kendrick Lamar mimicking the ritual. He wants to worry about life. Masons work hard our whole lives. Facts. This right here. You know, he's a Freemason. Kept getting fired because of his jobs. Now he's worth $700 million. Work hard, they all say. Mason. Just a joke, man. Never too late. Elon Musk, H on his wife. It was on his baby mom. September 2019. He's wearing a mask. Wearing a mask. Before COVID. And look at this. This is the ad Virus, vaccine, three vaccines equal UFO. In the beginning is music and music. So like propaganda, like rhymes, and she's like huge in communism. This
look alike. They walk alike. They dress alike. They look alike. They walk alike. They dress alike. They even rap alike. If you listen to their songs, those who are involved in the rap groups, they're killing what they see in the mirror. You know why? Because we failed them. We failed them. They don't love themselves. Because if they loved themselves, they wouldn't shoot somebody who looked just like them, who act just like them, who walk just like them, who have the same swag that they have. They're killing themselves, brother. We got to teach them to love again.
Because they're programmed to. And Kendrick was wearing the.
They look alike.
I'm pretty sure Kendrick Lamar is a Knight of Malta now. Which, you know who else was a Knight of Malta? You know who else was a Knight of Malta? It was Nelson Mandela was the Knight of Malta. So for Kendrick Lamar to try to aspire and be a Knight of Malta, that's probably where he's been. Everybody's like, where you been? He's probably been trying to be a Knight of Malta. Because at that half bowl, I mean at the Super Time at the Super Time half bowl. At the Super Bowl halftime show, he had that black white cross. You want to learn about? I can see. We're not going to have any title. Checkerboard. No, I can't stop seeing symbolism everywhere I look now. Like I see it in logos, I see it in people, I see it everywhere. I see it everywhere. Can't stop seeing it. Can't turn it off. Like I see what they're doing, and I'm here to show you exactly what they're doing. Title. So you flip it upside down. It's actually the Tetris piece that's on the apron, the Freemasons, and it's also the checkerboard. This world, wow, everything's right in front of you. Boom. Welcome to reality. This is a whole mood we're going to do later. Right now, we're going to move into Freemasonry, showing you the reality of this world, where the model of the 33rd degree as Tenebris, light out of darkness. Very commonly used in the caption of Masonic documents as expressive of the object of Freemasonry and what a true Freemason supposes himself to have attained. So, even though apathy doesn't want to look at it as the 33rd isn't higher than the 32nd, why is it that it's only the 33rd that requires the true supposes the true Freemason supposes himself to have attained meaning light out of darkness, meaning how much learned, right? So if he hasn't learned everything yet until the 33rd degree, then obviously he's still not acquired all the information. So if he is a 32nd degree, he doesn't understand the object of Freemasonry, period. And know what it's about. He doesn't know the real reality is to trick all of us. They think they control things. They act like they are great, like saviors. It's you have to read their stuff. It's funny. So we're not going to go there though. All right. Look, what we're going to do is we're going to finish up here. And understand that so just for those that don't know, this is straight out of the Nuremberg military tribunals. And it's the voluntary consent of the human subject is absolutely essential. This means that the person involved should have legal capacity to give consent. And you know what they did? They forced us, tricked us, tricked us. Consent. Really did. Like, they made it emergency use only, and they tricked us into taking their experimental vaccine, which now you need dependent upon it, or your immune system's just screwed. I don't even know what they did to everybody. All I know is there's 9 pages of things that they don't want people to know about. Moving on. Why is this a big deal? Because, like I said, look at this.
This spa owner says he couldn't wait. His company bought its own tests and he thinks they've eased the minds of both staff and customers. This spa owner says he couldn't wait. This spa owner says he couldn't wait. His company bought its own tests and he thinks they've eased the minds of both staff and customers.
Everybody peep that? Look at this. This is overseas. I guess they don't even care overseas. They're just like, we're going to wear it in the commercial and everything. On the news. And like I said, that's what I think happened worldwide. Now, another video of him doing the hand.
So today's
thing.
big story,
There
Facebook and Instagram down. Could it be that this is maybe because?
I don't even care what he's saying. Thumb triangle, see? This is why I downloaded this. This is Project Veritas. I don't trust them at all. Thumb triangle, thumb triangle, thumb triangle. Don't trust them. They're all Mason heroes. They don't care as long as it's the same result. So they give you fake heroes because they don't care. It's like, just like they don't care if my son and them fight against racism because they're never going to really make any real change because all their victories are allowed. Now, like I had said before, I'd taken Ice Cube, his whatever he wanted to do. He made a post. I took it and I I like to say I expounded on it exponentially. Okay, he made a post. I expounded on it exponentially, meaning I basically gave him something like huge back. Not a peep, not a word. Not a peep, not a word. And why is it a big deal? Well, let's talk about Freemasonry, slavery. See, nobody's ready to have this conversation. Undo, give me that red ballpoint pen. Oh, okay. Do we see that? That is a Freemason symbol, folks. And if you don't know what you're looking at right now, this is a slave collar. Addison Drake and Sons, one of the biggest. Uh, they were major slaveholders back in the day, just like a lot of our presidents were. A lot of people don't know this stuff. And we're about to school people. I might save this for a volume 2. We're going to pick this up. It's been a 2-hour segment. I think we're going to pick this up tomorrow. I'm going to upload this now, but we're going to move into this segment tomorrow. Okay? We're going to get into this right here. So if you're watching, thank you for joining me. Make sure to go to my website, sign up to the sign up to the email list. I've been excuse me. I've been saying for months now I'm going to start sending out information, which trust me, I have lots of information to put out. I have lots of information to send out. Lots of things that'll make you question everything. And I've actually gone against powers that be. Not the same way that apathy claims he. And I will prove that. Starting with this, we're going to get into who the slaveholders were, the major slaveholders. We're going to get into who white, quote unquote, white people were, who quote unquote black people were. We're going to get biblical, and we're going to show lots of Freemasonry stuff. And hopefully, we can shed light on this topic that's been buried for so long. This is a slave collar. Richmond, Virginia, 1852. Hilla says that they didn't know about Freemasonry back. Come on, they didn't know about Freemasonry back then. Hilla, our presidents were Freemasons. They knew they were Freemasons back then. You know who fought in the Revolutionary War? They were mostly Freemasons. It was mostly Freemasons that fought in the Revolutionary War, not even regular people. We're going to get into lots of things, especially the Civil War. Tune in next time. Peace.